Navigating in SwiftUI can be quite perplexing. With navigation stacks, sheets, navigation links, and values, it can feel like a jumbled mess. However, fear not, as in this tutorial series, I will unravel the confusion and demonstrate the most effective and graceful approach to navigation in SwiftUI. From understanding navigation links to managing sheets and navigation destinations with values, we'll address it comprehensively. Today, we are going to cover sheets and full screen covers. Let's dive straight in and streamline our navigation experience. And if you want to escape tutorial hell and want to ask a senior iOS developer, go ahead and check out rebeloper.com/mentoring, where you can join me on a one-on-one Zoom session. So today we are going to continue on our previous video where we talked about Enum navigation, and we were just simply using the navigation link. Let me just show you what we built right over there. So it was kind of a tab view and the destination view, destination to view, and that's it. Basically, we just navigated on a link type of navigation, and here we just moved some data as a dependency inside our destination to view. And we were using actually Enum navigation. So we were creating all of these values like Enums, and we were using it. Make sure to check out the previous video. I will have a link down in the description for the whole playlist for this. Now, today we are going to talk about sheets, because all of this is done only through navigation links. As you can see, it's just navigation link from the route one view, navigation link, and then destination one view, navigation link. We want to incorporate also sheets. So let's just have a quick reminder of how sheets work, and then we are going to make it easier and also much nicer to work with Enums in navigation. So you would just do it. One way of navigating with sheets is just, let's say you want to create a button, and then we just have a sheet right over here. And then the action. Well, the action has to be a toggle on a Boolean state variable. So we just have state private var is sheet presented equals false. And then we would just toggle that is sheet presented dot toggle. And of course we do need to set up our sheets, so we would just say sheet, and we are going to use the one with is presented, maybe on this means per content, but for this particular quick example, without the on this means is perfectly fine. So we just have a binding right over here. We just bind is sheet presented, and then the content, well, let's just go for our destination one, and we can just use route one link values dot destination one, because if you take a look at the previous video, or you just simply remember, those are also views. So let's just see this in action, and just build and run. And then we have this sheet right over here. As you can see, destination to view. Of course, this is grayed out because we are not inside the navigation stack. So let's just fix this real quickly, so you are not on the dark on that. And then we are going to move away from this regular, usual way of building out sheets. As you can see, now we have destination to view, and of course, because we did not set up navigation, the destination link, well, actually, I'm just going to go through, so I'm going to add it right over here. So previously, you see that right over here on the route one wheel, we set up all of this. So navigation link values. Make sure to check out the previous video if you don't really understand what we have over here. And then what we want to do, if I'm correct, yes, route one view, yeah, you want to add those navigation link values to all of the navigation stack. Let's just build and run a sheet. Well, maybe we just need to move it onto the actual view. Let's just see that in action sheet. And now it's actually working. Yes, I figured that it has to be on the actual first view, but the root view of our navigation stack. So yeah, it kind of works. And the same goes for full screen covers, by the way. It's the same routine. So this doesn't look as easy as we just build out our navigation with navigation links. You have to create a button, then a sheet, and then inside that sheet you want to have a navigation stack with this navigation link values. It's a lot. So how about we create a navigation sheet, or let's just call it navigation modal, because we are also going to incorporate full screen covers. So this is what we are going to do today. We are going to create a navigation model for our values and some label text, and we are going to navigate as sheets with them. So buckle up, we are going to do that right now. Aspiring iOS developer, partnering with me as your mentor at rebeloper.com/mentoring can turbocharge your career. With extensive industry experience and a deep understanding of iOS development, I offer practical insights, industry trends, and efficient coding strategies to help you thrive. And with a focus on practical skills, industry trends, and efficient coding practices, I am committed to empowering you with the expertise needed to thrive in the competitive world of iOS development. Let's elevate your iOS journey together. Join me at rebeloper.com/mentoring. So first of all, I told you that we are going to do this for sheets and full screen covers. Therefore, you will see later on in the code, make sure to check out till the end. We are going to need some sort of an if statement, if else statement, an if statement actually for view modifiers. Now there isn't such in SwiftUI, so we need to create one ourselves. So let's just go under the view plus and let's just create that. So it will be a view builder, a function, and let's just call this if, and we are going to return some view. And there we go. So, well, maybe just have a text right over here so we don't have that error. But we are going to have some error because besides the small case view. It says key if cannot be used as an identifier here. Now, how to fix this? Because I really like this function name. Well, we just use tildes and that will just fix it. Now we can just use this as a function name. How awesome is that? So, what are we going to do? Well, there will be some sort of a condition if we want to add that view modifier or not. So let's just have that condition right over there. So condition, and this will be some sort of Boolean completion, and I'm just going to add in here auto closure. We're not going to use auto closure for this particular case, but just so you know, you can add that true or false value as a closure too. So at auto closure. Okay, so that's a condition, and then we want to add, of course, our view in there, the content actually that we are going to transform. And first of all, we want to make sure that our content is of type view. There we go. And then we are going to add it right over here. So I'm calling it transform, and transform, there we go. And we are going to, I'm just going to type it out, self, and then explain it to you, content. There we go. So this will actually grab the content and transform it, give it up to our if view modifier, because actually this is a view modifier, and then you can use self to transform it with other view modifiers. And this is how it looks like. It's basically an if-else statement. If condition, so if this is true, then transform, and then self, our view, else, just return self. And basically that's it. This is our if view modifier. We are going to use it later on. So next up, we want to create some sort of navigation modal that would, you know, be looking like this, navigation link. So let's create that. Let's create a new file, and it will be a Swift file because we, well, let's just call it a SwiftUI view it has some default values when we use the template. So navigation modal. Okay. And yeah, there we go. I want to remove the preview so we're not going to have issues with that later on. Let's just have a little bit more space because we are going to type a lot right over here. So about the navigation modal. Well, what types of modals are we going to accept? Well, two types, and we are going to create an enum for that. So navigation modal type. What are those? Well, as I told you, they are case sheet and case full screen cover. So those are a few of them. Well, I'm just going to have them as with the comma. Okay, that's fine. So what else do we need right over here? Well, we are going to have some sort of a navigation link type of behavior. So that's kind of a button. So let's create our button right over here. And let's just have, well, let's just use the one with the action and label because yeah, I prefer this because the label, you can just have more options on that. So the action and label. Well, for the label, let's just have a text right now, just an empty text so we don't have any issues with that. Now for the button, how do you trigger a button and how did we trigger it? Well, a state variable. So let's just have a private state variable right over here, state private var is presented equals false, of course. Okay, so we are going to toggle that on the action. So that's fine. Now, what about the label? Well, we do want to move the label inside into our button, not just provide it as a text or whatever. So we are going to create a label right over here. It will be a view builder. Go ahead and check out my other YouTube videos on how to build out a view builder. So at view builder, basically it allows us to have container views well, basically that's it, and multiple types of views with an if statement. Yeah, it's a view builder. Var label, and it's a closure, and it will return some sort of a view. But this is a protocol. We can't just return right over here in the completion a view. We want to say this will be a label, and then we will say label is of type view. Okay, so now we just add our label right over there. So we're getting there. We have an internal private is presented, and then we just move the label inside. Now, what else do we want to add in there? Well, we just set up the navigation type. Let's just do that also. So let me just have a little bit more room over here so we can see that there are a little bit different things. Let's just have a type, and that will be our navigation modal type. And yeah, let's just have that in use. So we are going to use if the type is, so if type equals dot sheet, we are going to transform. As you can see, it's also automatically recognizing that this is a button. Well, I'm just going to call it a view, and then view right over here. We are going to add our sheet view modifier. So sheet, and let's just use also the on dismiss right over here because yeah, it's really, really useful. And we're going to use the one with the is presented, on dismiss, and content. Now, before I go in there, let me just take a look at this on dismiss. What type is it? And you can see it's an optional closure with void, so it's not actually returning anything. So let's just put it where should we put it? Well, before the label. So this will be let on dismiss, and that will be an optional completion right over there, void. Okay, so now I can just use it. So it's presented. Well, we just say $ is presented. On dismiss, we just pass along on dismiss. Now, for the content, well, we are going to get to that right now. So what is the content? We actually want to use some sort of a value that will be a view. So let me just add that over here, value and view. Remember our previous video where we set up these enums and they were adhering to the hashable protocol and the view protocol? This is the value that we are going to provide right over here. So after the type, let's just put that in. So var value of type value. Okay, so now we can just var, there we go. We can just add it right over here. So value, there we go. But as you already saw, we also most probably are going to use a navigation stack, and if not, then it's no problem. The navigation bar will not appear. So let's just add also the navigation stack around that value. And we also need to move our link values. So for that, and I was just calling that data in the previous episodes. So we also want to add our D is hashable and view. Okay, so that will be our data. It's a let data and D dot type. Okay, and now that we have all of that, we can just add navigation link values. There we go, navigation link values, and we just move we just pass along the data. And yeah, basically that's how we make the navigation stack work with these navigation link values inside our created sheets. Okay, so we have set all of this up for sheets. How about our full screen covers? Well, we just copy this out and then paste it in there. And we just say full screen cover. Let me just copy that out and paste it in there. And because, you know, the view modifier is exactly the same, this will just actually work. And this is why we want to have a different if for the types of sheet and full screen cover, because we are using the same is presented. We don't want to present a sheet and a full screen cover at the same time. Okay, so just to make our lives a little bit easier, I'm going to also add in an initializer right over here. Xcode is trying to add in a really nice initializer. Let's just use it because a lot of code has been added, and now let's fix it. So first of all, we don't need these presented. That needs to be private. About the type, we just set an underscore because then it's much nicer to add it in there. Now the value will be, of course, it's of type view protocol, but we want to have it as value, data, hashable, and value, but it's actually a D and a D of type. Yes, the type. On this case, on dismiss, well, we don't need this escaping, and we want to set default value to nil. Maybe we don't want to use on dismiss, and then the label will be of type label. Of course, all of this is escaping, and also I want to add a view builder right over there. Let me just add these into new lines so you can see it a little bit better, and then we can just move on into the implementation. So we don't need is presented. There we go. And basically all of the rest should be fine. So let's finally use this. Let's go back to our root one view and try to replicate what we did right over here for the sheet. You will see it will be much, much nicer. So navigation model, and yeah, let's use the one with the type value data on dismiss. Oh, I see that there is a small d for that. Let me just quickly fix that. So on dismiss, and over here too. There we go. Okay, so let's go back and start all over again. So navigation model, and this one, let's just have a little bit more space. So the type, let's just hit dot, and you can see that we can choose from full screen cover or sheet. Let's just go for the sheet for now. Now, what about the value? It will be the same what we had right over here for the link. Again, it's a view. And then the data, what we want to move is this root one navigation link values dot self. And then on dismiss, let's just hit return over there. Let's just maybe print out dismissed. And then on the label, well, let's just have this text over there, sheet. Okay, destination one view sheet. Let's build and run, and let's see this in action. As you can see now, it's much cleaner, really nice, good API. So destination one view sheet, and also the navigation stack works inside that sheet. You can just simply slide it down. That's it. That's how easy it is to create a navigation model that kind of behaves like navigation link. Make sure to check out the link down in the description for the whole playlist where you will learn how to set up all of this enum navigation link values. And now you can just use sheets. And of course, this works with full screen covers. Now, there are some caveats right over here and some missing things like the undismissed for our navigation link. Or this is basically just user initiated navigation, like tapping on an actual button, navigation link, navigation modal button, the same thing. We don't have anything like this, maybe with the sheet is presented, where it is just going to toggle the navigation according to a data change. So we actually really need a coordinator pattern, and that's what we are going to talk about in the next video. So make sure to subscribe and maybe hit that like button if you did like this video, and I will see you in the next one.